I was not a candidate.
Professor Adams, please.
Chair, I rarely come at this stage, but just as a follow-up, I've requested you. You've told us that you are wondering why the framers of the Constitution excluded the President and the Governor.
Yes.
I just want to, because you are a sniffer of risks.
Yes.
Would it be that the IEBC, other than facilitating the election of representatives of the people who go to the legislatures, both at the national and the county level, also facilitates the election of executives, and that therefore the exclusion, the framers of the Constitution were looking at the exclusion more from a representative perspective and not from an executive perspective, because the executives have term limits and the representatives don't have term limits, and therefore those who have term limits were excluded from the exclusion. Would that?
Probably that is what they thought, but if you ask me, there is still a problem there, because if they intended that the issue is to inject neutrality into the system, then probably anybody who participated in the election should have been included in the exclusion clause. So I believe what you have said, Professor.
So you are saying you are taking advantage of what they provide.
The law is an us. We must follow it as it is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much, when I'm starting.
Thanks so much, Chair. Eliud.
Yes, sir.
You have noted that from the gazettement there was an error, and such are those omissions that IEBC does. And what will you do in terms of accuracy when you be a commissioner to ensure that such errors do not happen?
Probably the use of the word error, I'm not sure whether we want to call it an error, but in order to ensure that the role is clean, because if, for example, somebody intended to vie at a certain position and then withdrew, if they did not remove from the role, then I think it is wrong. So what I would intend to do is to ensure that the system, the register of candidates, because that relates to the register of candidates actually, is inspected and audited before it is published, to ensure that what actually goes to the government printer for gazettement is actually bona fide contestants. Otherwise, it is mistakes like such as those ones that will make us have dead voters in the roll.
Are you trying to say that it was not an error? It was intentional? Because I'm actually telling you it was an error. It went ahead and got gazetted, and that is not the position you are saying.
The reason why I'm saying that is this. Because even in IEBC's system of doing things, it is technically impossible to have a situation where somebody is running for two positions. You cannot be a running mate and at the same time you are running as an MP. It is a mutually exclusive situation. So whatever is happening in terms of taking names to the government printer, then that lapse needs to be dealt with, because the system should be able to capture names that are appearing in both positions.
Agree with me that that was an error.
Yeah.
So now let me take you to another point.
Yes,
you
please.
have talked about the relations between the Secretariat and the Commissioners.
Yes.
Historically, we have had CEOs who have had a very cordial relationship with the Commissioners or the Chair.
Sure.
And we have had others who have had a very stormy relations with the Chair.
Yes.
Would you attribute that to a personality issue or an institutional structure?
I would actually attribute that to personality. Basically, I would look at it as a personality issue because, you see, one of the things that we may need to look at as a commission is to depersonify the commission. For example, we've been having a situation whereby the commission is like it was synonymous with the name Chebukati, for example. So we need to depersonify that by having a situation whereby the commissioners are working together as a collective and are making consultations together before arriving at decisions that affect the operations of the commission and effectively affecting the entire country. So I would attribute it more to personality than the commission. I mean, than the institution. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much, and wish you well. We will end up having a Sneva in the IPC.
Thank you.
Asante. Over to you, Jay.
Thank you very much. I want to invite Fatuma to ask you some questions. Ms. Fatuma, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Wanjao.
Yes, Madam.
The curricular report identified weak voter education as the key contributor to electoral violence. And also a parliamentary report in 2016 also did identify IEBC's public communication being more of reactive than proactive. So if you become a commissioner at the IEBC, how would you reorganize the stakeholder engagement and public participation to address this matter?
I would ensure that we are making consultations with all stakeholders on a real-time and continuous basis. Now, stakeholders are several. We've got the politicians, we've got the political parties, but in your case you've mentioned the voter education. So what I would do, or what I would recommend, is a situation whereby we are involving all stakeholders in all of the processes that are going on in the electoral cycle, so that we are actually educating the stakeholders, no, the voters for this, for that matter, that it is wrong to preach hatred, it is good to participate in the election, that it is bad for any politician to intimidate you or to incite you to violence. So I would ensure that we are having regular stakeholder engagement through social media, through public barazas, and probably have in all the 47 counties, have a public relations desk in all the 47 counties to ensure that there is a continuous engagement with the stakeholders, the voters for that matter.
Apart from the regular strategy,
yes,
how would you deal with the content of the voter education?
In terms of voter education, I would engage voter educators in each, across the country, that is, to update them and involve them and inform them of their rights to vote, their right not to be intimidated, and their right to participate in the election, and the importance of participating in elections in order to determine their destiny. So I would educate the voters, I would ensure the voters are well informed, well educated about their rights, so that they can participate in the process. So I would involve all stakeholders, public barazas, social media, all those aspects of public engagement, including the civil society, to educate voters on their rights. And as you have heard, I have already said that anybody who qualifies to get an ID should be able to be registered as a voter automatically. So that is one of the things that I will ensure that voters are, fully involved in the process so that they can participate in the exercise.
Okay, thank you. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I want to invite Mr. Nicodemus Bore to ask you some questions, please. Nicodemus.
Yes, Mr. Wanjao.
Yes, please.
Now that you vied for Deputy Governor of Kirinyaga,
yes,
what were the results? Did you come in second, third?
Yeah, we were second.
You accepted
first,
You accepted the results of that election?
Initially, we had intended to lodge a petition, but we withdrew the petition. So we withdrew the petition and left it.
But so you accepted the results?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Effectively, yes.
In the nomination of 2017,
yes,
you vied for Governor Kirinyaga.
Yes.
Under which party?
Jubilee.
So what transpired?
I remember the nomination was actually happening in 17th of April. I even remember the day because it was a painful day. 17th of April, 2017. And I remember when we were going for the nomination, even members of my family were not in the register. So I went with the family so that we could vote, but none of them even voted. And then we had that it was building up for the last 6 months. And then you are told the whole exercise has been cancelled and rescheduled to 21st of April. So what is this that you could not do properly in 6 months that you want to do in 3 days? So, as a sniffer of risks, I decided there's a waste of time. So there's no need.
So you did not participate in the next?
I did not.
Okay. When had you joined the party?
2017, around January, 2017 January, thereabout.
Had you joined the party because you wanted to vie?
Yeah, in 2017, that is.
So you did not join the party because you liked its ideals?
At that point, it was the governing party. So I want to be very frank that when you are in a zone that is painted in a certain color, you increase your chances. Again, we go back to the sniffing of risks. Because at the end of the day, even the opposing parties did not have any better policies anyway. And that is why in the subsequent elections I decided I will be independent.
Then I believe you, when you become a member of IEBC, you are at risk of following what the government of the day is, because you will want to, you have decided, you told us you joined Jubilee because at that time it was the governing party, and because you knew you might have a high chance of winning.
Mr. Chairman.
So let me before I finish.
Okay.
So if now that we have a ruling party like now the current Kenya Kwanza, you will follow its orders and everything, because you know there is a probability that this government will continue ruling in 2027. Isn't that dangerous?
Not at all. That is not what I'm saying. In fact, it is the opposite. That is why I want to join the commission so that I can start disabusing those people who believe like that you have got a neutral arbiter who can actually arbitrate before contestants and arrive at a situation where the people's will is being delivered. I would want a situation whereby whoever is contesting for an election, actually, if he wins happy, and if you lose with a smile. The same way we used to convince taxpayers to pay taxes with a smile, despite the fact that they don't want to pay taxes.
Thank you, Wanjao, but I also want to inform you that the register of members of a political party is not kept by IEBC. It is kept by the registrar of political parties.
That is true. It's kept by the registrar of political parties, but IEBC has got a duty to regulate how this register is being used, and that they are actually maintaining it, because IEBC has a constitutional duty to supervise nominations.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Ngige,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
looks like you are averse to risks. You are risk averse, and I'm wondering whether this is this journey. IEBC has a lot of risks in terms of joining the commission.
Well, it has some risks. That is why only 26% of Kenyans currently trust IEBC. And this is something that we really want to drive, so that we inject trust. That is the most important thing. Whatever we do, whether we are doing procurement, hiring, public education, public engagement, whatever we are doing, that 5-lettered word, trust, should be at the bottom of whatever IEBC does.
Okay, thank you very much. Professor, please.
Eliud Wanjao